Hello, welcome to my video talking about the book, Resident Evil Calvin Cove. We're going to be looking at one of the main characters, not really main, one of the side characters that didn't really appear as much, but is still a main character in all the other games of Resident Evil and books, Jill Valentine. The first game that she appeared in was called Biohazard, and was released in March 22nd, 1996. Soon later, 8 days later exactly, the American copy came out, Resident Evil for the original PlayStation. Same with the Japanese one. Later down the line, made by Nintendo, Resident Evil Remake, originally released on the GameCube, then released later on Wii. And then all on the mainline consoles, except for the original ones, except some other websites, but we don't really get deep into that. Later, in 1998, released the novelization by S.D. Perry. She also made Calvin Cove. And along with the lore of the games, the S.D. Perry versions, they have their own universe, has different characters. Sometimes they'll appear, and Calvin Cove was one of the first Resident Evil books that took place in between the second game and the first game, and tells about our girl Rebecca Chambers, who appeared in Resident Evil 0. In the first game, she with her group went to the mansion, and on their way to entering the mansion, one of their friends, Joseph Forrest, died to dogs. And they let her enter the mansion. They noticed that one of their friends, Chris, was gone. They went to go look for him. They found a zombie. And that was the one thing that led them to the Spencer Mansion incident. In the incident, they found stuff about a corporation in the town that they lived in. The Raccoon City. Raccoon City was the town that they lived in. Umbrella was an evil pharmaceutical corporation that made the mansion. And they were testing bioweapons. Made zombies, like evil sharks, evil dogs, evil plants. Like you could be mowing your lawn one day, and that little thing could come out and kill you. You never know. And that's what Umbrella did. Actually, in the first game, and in the book, and in the remake, something's different. One of the characters, Barry Burton, who appears in Calvin Cove, dies in the original Resident Evil. But in the remake, he doesn't. He lives. Well, technically, there are multiple endings you can get, where you could kill Chris. Well, there's technically two different scenarios you can go through. Plays Chris or Jill. If you plays Jill, you could kill Chris, Barry, Rebecca, all of them. You can kill them. And Wesker. He dies. But you could sadly kill them, or survive with all of them, and live a happy life. After the first game, her and the people who lived in the STARS team decided to go to Chief Irons, trying to shut down Umbrella, but they weren't successful. And Jill was put under house arrest September 28th through September 29th. She was honestly, as it says, she was attempting suicide and almost killed herself, but she didn't. And then she decided to go on the streets right when Resident Evil 3 happened. Now, Jill didn't appear in Resident Evil 2 at all. She was, well, technically, 3 and 2 take place around the exact same time, just a little bit difference. 3 takes place before 2 because you can go into the RPD in Resident Evil 3, but there's differences. There are boards on some of the doors, which doesn't make sense canonically because in Resident Evil 2, they're there. They're like just regular old doors, they're gone. But we don't really worry about that. This was the 1990s, almost 2000s when these games came out. I doubt they're really caring, but they really did care about the people who played the games. During the third game, she finds one of the people who went to the Spencer Mansion, Brad Vickers, and finds him. They meet up, but then when they are at the entrance of the RPD, this thing called the Nemesis, or a tyrant, that appears in the first game, but kills Upper Wesker, but you also kill it yourself. That's a good job. In this game, it kills Brad Vickers right in front of you, one of the people who escaped the mansion incident. You then go around the town trying to escape, because soon enough, a missile is coming to destroy the city of Raccoon City, because the amount of zombies have taken over the town and basically killing everybody. In the game, you've not much ammo, which could hinder your playthrough, but you can still make it out, and you can. And if you get the exact ending, there are multiple. You can get two endings. One where you find a helicopter right outside when you kill the nemesis and about to get blown up, or someone from the mansion incident helps you. It's Barry Burton, which is kind of cutting out how he died in the first game, because he picks you up in a helicopter and you escape. Now, for a little bit, Jill took a little hiatus. She didn't appear in Resident Evil 4, the two side games Outbreak, another side game, which almost was the book, Resident Evil Code Veronica, and Resident Evil Operation Raccoon City, which she does make an appearance in Resident Evil 5, taking control by Albert Wesker. He lived, somehow, with the T-Virus. The T-Virus is the one thing that caused the zombies because of Umbrella. Umbrella put the T-Virus into people and destroyed them. Destroyed their, everything inside them and turned them into zombies. And in Resident Evil 5, she's being taken over by Wesker. And you can kind of, not really kill her, but you can save her. And then after that, she is a DLC where she pushes Wesker out of the window and kills herself. But she somehow lives after that. There's another game, Resident Evil Revelations, which I haven't played personally, but it stars our girl Jill Valentine. But now, let's get into Jill Valentine a little bit more. When Jill Valentine first appeared in the game, she was one of the fan favorites. And as I read from articles, as they say, people liked her because she wasn't showing much of her body, like in, say, Tomb Raider, where something's poking out a lot. But she was fine. She had her beret, she had everything on. She had a knife, she was good. Until Resident Evil 3. And she was wearing a crop top. Not really crop top, just, I don't know what the name of it is, but she was wearing that, and people didn't really like it because it revealed too much. That's really about it about her outfits. She had a nice beret with stars on top. But what organization did she join? Jill Valentine herself was a great person. During the time before she joined STARS, she was a person who was great at locksmithing. And in the first game, when Barry gives you the lockpick, he says,
"It might be handy if you,
are the master of unlocking.
Take it with you."
And now you can basically not unlock every door, but doors with a simple lockpick. But another thing about her is that she was an introvert who would use her head instead of her heart, just like as Chris would. She was probably one of the best characters in Resident Evil. Next, to Leon. Fun fact about Resident Evil, Jill Valentine was the survival horror's first woman, female playable character. And all the other ones, it was usually a man. Like in Silent Hill, it was Harry. He was a man. He was trying to save his child, and there was a girl there, but she wasn't playable at all. Jill Valentine interacts with the characters very nicely. She isn't like, oh, I'm a sucker punch her in the face. I'm gonna knock you out, kiss her. No, she was a nice one. She was always a little bit funny, always a little bit nice. She always cracked a joke once or twice. She was probably the one that everyone liked, one she always got related with. Well, in Caliban Cove, one of her best friends, as I think it is Rebecca, because she calls her by a nickname, Becca. Earlier in the book, when they are in Barry's home talking to David. For some reason, which I find weird, in both the Outbreak games, Jill is not mentioned at all. She wasn't in any of the files, or when any of the characters talked, or at all playable in the game. But one of the other main characters, who was who was a special tactics man, who would go around and kill a lot of the zombies, Hunk, who was one of the best people out there, and they called the Grim Reaper. He was playable when you basically beat the game, and was unlockable, and cost a lot of points. But Leon, the main character in Resident Evil 2, was referenced. One of the main characters, who I don't remember the name, works for the RPD, and when you pick up 2 tickets to I think it's a football game, he's like, oh, I should bring my buddy Leon with me. And They also reference Barry Burton. I don't remember where because I haven't seen it. But it's nice how they reference characters, but sadly, not really Jill Valentine. Out of the around 7 books, Jill only appeared in 3. The first one, the second one, and the 5th one. She did not appear in Resident Evil Underworld, Resident Evil City of the Dead, or Resident Evil Code Veronica. Now you might be wondering, why am I saying 7 and I only hold up 6? Well, it's because I don't own 0. That's the only one I don't own. And that one is a retelling of the game before Resident Evil 1, where it stars our girl, Rebecca Chambers, from Calvin Cove. She, along with a prisoner, go on a train, then go to a mansion, then go to an underground laboratory, and kill a lot of zombies. But for some reason, Rebecca doesn't say anything about this in Resident Evil 1. The reason why is, the game came out later. That's why. Wow, it's the end of my project. Thank you for watching.
Power right in the kitchen.